I want to go over question 9 on the 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 homework. So you're given this picture of this rectangular box with a square base, and you're asked to find the dimensions of the base and the height of this box. So one of the things you want to start with is your volume function. In this case, it's going to be x times h, x squared times h, and that's going to be set at 162 feet cubed. So I'm going to use that later when I have the cost function to substitute h in terms of x, so then I can differentiate it all in terms of x. And you can see here we're going to get this cost function. So I want to go through how to get this cost function. And the way they get this is they leave their units in terms of cents instead of dollars. So if you were going to convert it to dollars, you would have a 0.3 and a 0.14. So getting the cost function, I got to know how much is it going to cost for the base? Well, per square foot, right? So 20 cents per square foot. So I have 20 cents per x squared. Plus the top is 10 cents, and that's still x squared, plus the four sides. And they all have a dimension of xy. So the sides cost 3.5 cents per square foot, which there's four of them, and their square foots would be x times y. So if you simplify this, you get 30x squared plus 14xy. And that's what they got there. The next step on this would be to solve for h in the volume function, and I get 162 over x squared. Oh, sorry about that. I used h. Your book uses y. Y. Might make a little more sense. Y. I'm thinking h for height, but your book uses y, so I want to be consistent there. So I solve for y in terms of x, and I plug that in here. So my new cost function would be 30x squared plus 14x 162 over x squared. Cleaning that up, I get 30x squared plus 162 times 14, which would be 2,268 over x. So this is my cost function. I'm going to differentiate this with respect to x, right? So if I take the derivative with respect to x, the derivative of the cost function, right? This is the cost function with respect to x is going to be 60x minus 2,280, 2,268 x the minus 2, and I would set that equal to 0. So x cannot equal 0 because then we wouldn't have a box. So if x cannot equal 0, to solve this, I can multiply by x squared to get 60x cubed equals 2,268 by moving that to the right-hand side. The x squareds cancel. So if I solve this, I get x cubed equals 2,268 over 60. If I take the cube root of that in my calculator, and you could write that to the 1/3 power, that is approximately 3.3560, and it says round to 1 decimal, so that's going to be 3.4. So the next step would be then to solve for y. And one way you can do that is plug this in back here for y. Keep in mind we rounded, so it might be best to plug this number in your calculator and square it. So if I was putting 162 divided by the cube root of 2268 over 60 squared, that's going to give you a better approximation. I can plug that in my calculator properly. be careful with order of operations. That gives me approximately so I was wrong. You don't want to do this because the rounding is going to throw you off. So leave it as 3.4, your answer for x squared. Doing that, you get 14.013, round one decimal place, you get 14. So this is your x and this is your y. If you have any questions on this, please let me know.